Hey clarinet players, I know that you guys have a lot of questions about how to do your beginning band warm-up sets number 2. We're doing exercises 1 through 4 this week. It's just as a review and making sure we're getting good sound out of your instrument and reviewing all the fingerings that we need to know from beginning band to get us started off on the right note, no pun intended, for this school year. So for exercise number 1 and 2, the brass is going to be buzzing. So when the brass is buzzing, woodwinds are going to be slurring and playing long tones or quarter notes. So make sure that when we're slurring, we're not tonguing any of the notes except for the first note of the sequence. So I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate exercise 1 really quick so you can hear what I'm looking for and hear what the slurs sound like. Here we go. All right, now we're looking at exercise number 2. If you look at exercise number 2, that second note is the high C. Remember, we were going over the break at the end of last quarter, okay? And remember I said we could do some pop-ups to help us in getting the correct note out. So for the high C, the same fingering that it shares with is going to be that low F on the clarinet. Remember, the low F is thumb, first, second, third finger on the top hand. Then you're going to have first, second, and third finger on the bottom hand and that bottom pinky. Okay, bottom pinky. So I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate the low F. And now I'm going to go ahead and play the low F, and then I'm going to pop it up to get that high C. Here's the low F again. You may have to do that a few times to review the high C for the clarinet, but that's the fingering for the high C is the same as your low F on the clarinet, but with your register key added to it. So when I'm doing exercise number 2, it might take a while to work on getting over the break from the G, which is no fingers at all, to almost every single finger down for that high C. So like I said, it might take some time. Don't get frustrated. I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate what I would like from exercise number 2 to sound like when you submit it. Here we go. All right, and you notice I wasn't slurring or wasn't tonguing those, and it actually is going to make it easier for you to go on the break or over the break when you're not having to tongue all the notes. Okay, break up the low F to high C when you're doing that pop practice at home, and then also practice going from G to C. And to do that, like I said, keep your fingers above the keys so then when you're going from nothing to everything down, it's a lot easier for you to be more accurate in your notes, your note switch, okay? Now we're going to look at exercise number 3, your long tones, which is all on the lower end of your instrument, and it just reviews the first 5 notes that we learned in beginning band. When you get to the VC section, don't worry about which line to play. You can pick whatever you want for your playing test. When we get back to face-to-face teaching and we're back together again, then I'll worry about splitting up the parts between the band. But here is exercise number 3, long tones. That was a lot of air. Whew. All right, so now we're going to look at number 4. The brass are now doing lip slurs. They're not buzzing anymore. They're doing all that work that they were doing in the buzzing now with the whole instrument. So the woodwinds usually do long tones. If we look, the first sequence is your E natural, which is thumb and first finger. If we look at the next sequence, you have an E flat that's tied over the bar line. Remember, the ties, if they're tied over the bar line, then that means the accidental is carried over to that next measure. So it's going to be E flat for your next sequence. Remember, E flat is thumb, first finger, second finger, and then remember that claw key we talked about, the claw key. So here's your E flat, the second note. All right, then we're going to D, which is thumb, first, second finger, which is one of your first notes from beginning band. Here's your D. All right, now if we're looking at the second line of the exercise, of exercise 4, you see a C sharp in there. So remember, it also has a tie, so it's going to carry over into the bar line. The C sharp is played like your C, your regular C. However, in addition to your playing thumb, first, second, third finger, if you look, you see down here on the top joint, you have what I remember the teardrop key. So you're going to press the teardrop key while you're holding down your first 3 fingers and your thumb for your C sharp. Here's your C sharp. All right, and then the next note is going to be C natural, which is thumb, first, second, and third finger. You're going to go ahead and lift that top pinky because you're not going to play it as a C sharp. Here's your C natural. And then look at your last note. We have a B natural. So remember last year I said you could play B 2 different ways based on whether it's flat or natural. So because it's natural, the last note is going to be middle finger B. So here's middle finger B natural. All right, I hope that this helps you in your playing test for this week so you can see what the notes are and what they sound like. Also, remember to reference your red beginning band book or Google Clarinet fingering chart, so you can compare what the fingering chart is for the note versus how you're playing it on your clarinet to make sure you are playing the right notes. And we are looking for note accuracy in addition to the good sound that we're going to get on your clarinet in this playing test this week. I wish you the best of luck, and I can't wait to hear your playing test. Thank you.